We are live. We are talking touchdowns, and the NFL regular season is over. It's time for the playoffs. Now, unlike the NBA, we've got some good football all year. So it's not like we're handicapping a brand new sport. And in fact, I felt that we had a playoff intensity game last night that I enjoyed watching, even though my prediction was wrong. It's kind of fun to watch the game with no money on it and just, oh, that was a cool play. But I want to go over these all game by game. And normally we kind of skip some of the crappy teams, but I'm going to do them all today because I want to get some of your guys' off-season thoughts on some of these absolutely terrible teams. I mean, some of them are quick, right? Most of the bad teams just need a quarterback and need a new coach. So we won't belabor it if it's not necessary, but we're going to go over these games, think about what these teams need and what we expect for them for next season. Tyler, I'd like to start with you, though. What were your thoughts on Week 18 and the end of the NFL season?
It was a fun week. Cool for the Tallman guys to get in the playoffs, and it didn't cost me my Bills ticket, so that was a good thing, thanks to the Jags and the Titans. I mean, what's that? I think it was just Week 18. Like, bad teams beat up on the bad teams. The good teams that needed to win fought their way in. The teams that needed to win, that didn't fight their way in, still won. So, it's Week 18.
All right. JC, we kind of had some fun with you over the weekend, right? And on the show on Friday. Mm-hmm. You had 10 bets on Week 18, which to me is completely counterintuitive. Mm-hmm. At one point I looked, it was during the afternoon. And I thought, dude, he's got a chance to go like 9-1 or 8-2. How did you end up doing? I think you still turned a profit though, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely had a profitable day. I think on those 10 picks, I finished 6-3. 6-3. That's not right.
Did you have a push in there?
No, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, 6-3. I think it might have only been 9 bets. I don't know what happened there. I don't know, 6-3, something like that. It was profitable regardless. I threw in some touchdown props on the Miami game to make me 8-5 on the day. Thought Tyreek could even money. Thought that was a joke. So yeah, profitable day. Like I said, it was looking really, really good at one point in the afternoon. Like I thought the same thing. I might go 8-2, 9-1 here. But that didn't happen. And that's all right. But despite all that, I'm still, I'm down bad. This is, as a fan, this is one of my top 3 worst days ever. I had a profitable day yesterday and I still want to give up sports. I'm sick of it, tired of it. So some Braves playoff loss have been worse, but I'm right there. I didn't want to do the show today. I have no interest in talking football, but I'm professional. I'm a man of integrity. So I will come on here, take my lashes and move on and find a way to continue to watch sports.
All right. Well, great attitude there. And we won't give it to you too hard, but let's go ahead and talk about all the games that we saw. What was the Saturday games? The first one was your Steelers. Yep. They beat the Ravens. Tyler, so for me, it was a great week to have discretion because a lot of like the leans that I was pushing this week ended up being wrong. And it started off on Saturday as I didn't bet it, right? We didn't put it on the sheet, but I like the Ravens. Did you end up betting the Steelers, Tyler? Or did we leave that
No,
one?
I stayed away from this game. I wasn't betting Tomlin as a favorite after he locked up the winning season. And I wasn't betting Tyler Huntley and the Ravens when they sat 90% of their starters that got them to the record that they are now. In the end, the Steelers were able to gut out a win. They lost TJ Watt. He's not playing in the playoffs. So what did he do? You got your playoff berth, and now you're 10-point underdogs to the Buffalo Bills.
And Tyler, I want to bet the Bills right now.
I'm not laying that many points, but I don't see the Steelers winning that game.
I don't think the Steelers have a chance. First of all, we've seen their numbers with TJ Watt out. They're bad. He's like 50% of that defense right there. The Buffalo Bills are on a roll. And I've said before that these 7 teams, these aren't playoff teams. These 7 seeds, the teams that are like kind of good. But I thought the 6 was better. None of these 7 teams really have the 7th seeds ever have a chance. And I understand why they did it. So yesterday, more games would have something on the line for the teams to play for, and it wouldn't just be a complete everybody resting. But to me, it's Bills or Pats. I don't think the Steelers have a chance. JC, what did you think of that game?
Before JC goes in his breakdown, King made a very good point. The total opened at 43. It's down to 35. There ain't a fucking chance I'm betting that game minus 10 when the total dropped a touchdown already.
Is that because of weather?
Yeah.
I don't think you can factor in weather a week beforehand, though. Like, yeah, you could tell me a snowstorm.
Yeah, you can, can't you? My little app can tell me it's going to rain this weekend in California.
Yeah, but how many times is it wrong? How many times does that change 3 days from now?
Todd's got a point.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a weather aficionado. Okay. Well, we don't have to bet it either. I'm just saying, do not take the Steelers plus 9.5. If you do, I would take the Bills. What do you think, JC?
So TJ Watt being out completely changes my perspective on this. If TJ Watt was playing, I would hammer the Steelers plus 10.
I agree, but he's not.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I still think it's appealing. It's enticing. I'm going to sit on it because I know that number will go up. I don't know why people are acting like the Bills are a juggernaut. I agree the Steelers have no chance of winning this game. But look at the recent games the Steelers have played. Look at the recent games the Bills have played. There is no reason to think the Bills are going to blow out the Steelers. It's Pittsburgh. They know how to play in cold weather. So they're not going to get an edge on them in that way. In cold weather just means it's going to be a low-scoring game, which is going to make it that much harder for the Bills to beat them by double digits. So, yes, for Steelers fans, unfortunately, you will be going home after next week. But, Tomlin's going to get another cover.
The only good part I got out of this matchup was once they announced the time slots, my cousin tried to schedule her son's birthday for 1:00 on Sunday. Let's just say I woke up to a text message this morning. It said, yeah, I had to reschedule the party for later in the day because no one was going to come.
Dude, you guys are real yinzers there, huh? That's not how it is in California. They just expect you to miss the game, Tyler. I mean, it's terrible.
No. That's one of the many things I hate about living in California.
Right, this whole city shuts down when the Steelers play. Like when I worked in retail and like the Steelers were playing on a Sunday, you just kick your feet up. No one's coming in.
Mm.
You get the weirdos that come in, but that's about it.
Yeah, the only thing I get is if I ever drive during a big Niners game, like yesterday doesn't count, but if it's a big Niners game, because Northern California is really more Niners now. It used to be even when I was a kid, but now it's more Niners.
My one buddy that doesn't watch football, he goes shopping, like grocery shopping on Sundays during like 1:00 so he can just go in. The store's empty.
I do sometimes too because I get stressed out after the morning games.
No, here's when you go grocery shopping, Spray. Here's the best tip I got for both of you guys. You go at 7 a.m. or right when the store opens because the only people walking around the store are you, the 3 old people that work there, and the floor cleaner.
Yeah, I do that.
No, you get the same thing and go shopping at like 8, 9 p.m. That's what I do. Because who the hell?
That's when all the crackheads are out and about, though.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah, I don't like 9.
I mean, I live in an area where like it's not actually anything dangerous, but you do get a couple sketchy characters for sure. But still, it's empty, and you don't have to wake up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, I don't mind getting up early. All right, let's. JC, what were your thoughts though? I still think the Bills are a smash spot here. I'll wait for that weather news, but
yeah,
I just don't see how they're going to compete. Like, where do they have the edge other than coach?
Defense.
I'll tell you another thing.
Not without TJ Watt.
Go ahead, Tyler.
I'll tell you another thing, Spread. Man, it is nice to be holding the second team in odds in the AFC at 20-1 now that they're plus 280 to win the AFC.
And rightfully so. Rightfully so. It should feel great.
I mean, I think I can find. I think it's an okay bet. I don't think it's a smash spot, but when this line continues to move up, I don't see how it's going to get there. It would take me a second to look at it. When's the last time Buffalo won a game by double digits? When they
why don't you look that up?
Crappy teams. They've been playing crappy. Okay, so they just Oh, shoot, I had it. Okay. They haven't. Okay, the Jets. November 19th.
I would say the Steelers are about the Jets right now.
The Dolphins back in week 5. That was the Jet. No, come on. Come on.
Did we forget what they did to the Cowboys like 3 weeks ago?
Who?
The Bills. They beat the Cowboys 31-10.
Yeah.
All right, I apologize.
Yeah.
Yep, you're
I'm
right.
I'm all about the Bills there.
Okay.
If Bills are
All right.
pass. I mean,
Okay. Fair enough.
These number 7 shouldn't be there. I mean, they're here, and I'll stop complaining, but these really aren't good teams. The Houston Texans win the AFC South because not only did they get the win, we said, watch out for Jacksonville. We said Tennessee was going to be fired up, and they were. So Jacksonville suffers the loss, which allows the Houston Texans to win the AFC South. They go from worst to first. Last year, they had the number 2 pick overall. Now they're hosting a home playoff game. And, of course, it'll be against the Cleveland Browns. So I guess we'll double this up, and we'll do both games at the same time, and that'll help us preview. The Browns got blown out by the Bengals, but they didn't play anybody at all.
Yeah,
so
you can't
we don't really
even,
have a lot to
even
play
take
about
anything from my game.
Another one where I was glad I was discreet because I came on this show and I said I thought the Colts were the right side, but I didn't feel good enough to bet it, especially going against you guys. So you guys got the win. I stayed on the sideline. Congratulations. Tyler, what did you see, and how do you think this team will fare when they host the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, I mean, what a way to show all the NFL casuals that have never seen a guy play who's never played a nationally televised game. His first throw of the game, he loads up a 75-yard bomb touchdown. So all those casuals out there were like, who's this guy? And then the game got a little slower as they played along. It turned into like pretty much a playoff game, which it was. The offenses started to stall out. The defenses took over. And in the end, it came down to what we all thought it would. The quarterbacks. And the backup decided he was going to turn into a backup and fold in the end. So in the end, we bet the better quarterback. Stroud got the job done. I don't like his chances this week against Cleveland. I mean, I know they played him recently. They were able to put up points against Cleveland, but Cleveland hung 30 on them. And they're playing in Houston. There's going to be no weather. Like, Amari Cooper shredded this defense for 200-plus yards. They're going to be able to run the ball. Their defense is going to lock in. I got to take the Browns here. I don't hate putting the Texans in teaser, though, but I'm a little worried that the Browns defense could just romp them. Like, Denzel Ward could cover Nico Collins and slow him down. If you drop him into the slot, Greg Newsome can also cover him. I'm not worried about anyone else outside of Nico Collins, really. Like Dalton Schultz, they could put JOK on him. They have matchups for everyone on that offense.
JC, what did you see, and how are you looking forward to this game this weekend?
I mean, it'll definitely be a good game, but I mean, it was like we said, you know, Stroud looks great, and we knew the Colts were a good enough team to contain him. You know, to be able to beat him. I mean, he looked like he was back at Ohio State. The way he was scrambling around the pocket, making those deep throws, he looked incredible. It was like watching some college football. However, you're not going to be able to play that style on the Cleveland Browns. That defense is too good. So I don't think he's going to be able to get away with that. Brown saw that you just got to run the ball on this Texans D to beat them. Flacco, you know, he doesn't even have to be that elite level he's been. He just got to make some passes. And sure, you got to go down to Texas to play it. But I think the experience is on Cleveland's side. The defense is on Cleveland's side. So even though the Texans got a better quarterback, I don't think it's going to be enough. They got to be thrilled with their season. Can't wait to see what they do next year. But this will be the end of the line for them.
Can we talk about the script writers in the NFL just lining this all up for us? You got Cleveland heading to Houston, the whole Deshaun Watson angle there. Like they took the guy. I know he's not playing, but there's still that angle. Tyreek's returning to Arrowhead on Peacock on Saturday night. Stafford's going back to Detroit on Sunday night. And Sunday afternoon, McCarthy gets to face off with the Packers. Oh, and if Cleveland wins, Joe Flacco's going back to Baltimore. They're lining this all up to be a nice storyline playoff run.
I mean, they would get ratings no matter what. But you're right,
And
Tyler. That is going
talk
to
about
be
a chess
interesting.
move to throw the Chiefs on Peacock. They said, "Watch this. We're going to get these ratings up."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tyler, I see a
Oh.
-3, but it's plus 107 right now, which means I think it's going to end up being -2.5. Do we want to take the
that's what I
Browns
got.
now, or do you want to wait?
I see -2.5. I'm down on the Browns at -2.5, and I'm still I might pull the trigger on teasing the Texans up to 8.5.
That's
I think
fair.
it's a great call. I already bet it.
Yeah,
Although
I like that too. All
Do
right.
we take a Cleveland ticket now?
Ticket
12
for
to 1 to
what?
win the AFC. Like if they win this matchup, they play Baltimore. They beat Baltimore. What are they then? Plus 200.
To win the
They're probably
AFC?
going to
Yeah,
match up
'cause
with the likes of.
if they beat Baltimore, it's just what their money line is going to be against Buffalo, which would probably be plus
And that
180,
defense,
plus
I think,
200.
is
I mean,
so
let's
much-
just say they win both those. Buffalo wins both those. They travel to Buffalo. What would you put that line? It's going to be Buffalo, what, -4.5?
I might be on the
Plus
Browns.
200.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the fashion.
There ain't a weather. There's not a weather scenario that Buffalo can throw to the Browns that the Browns never seen before.
For sure.
Yeah, but it would lower the total overall, which would lower the point spread.
Oh, I understand that, but I'm saying like Buffalo's whole thing is playoff run. Like if Miami has to go up there again, they ain't winning in Buffalo. Pittsburgh plays in cold weather, but they're not playing in Buffalo's frozen lake, Great Lake effect type deal. The Browns play in that weekly. They'll roll into Buffalo and be like, "This is like a home game for us. It's just everyone's in blue and they're yelling against us."
Yeah, it'd be a little
Which
different.
they're used to their fans yelling at them
Yeah,
anyways.
it'd be like a home game from 2 years ago anyway for them. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I'd definitely say the Browns are live. And that was cool that CJ Stroud got to do that on national TV. So we already talked about that. The Saints beat the Falcons real quick.
I got one thing from that game.
Let's hear it.
Jameis Winston walked out in victory formation and audibled out into a run and got his coach cussed out after the game, which is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
How gangster is that, dude? I loved it.
He said it was a team decision. They wanted to get Jamal into the end zone because Jamal basically had to play fullback after scoring 17 touchdowns last year. So they made the team decision to get him in the end zone. The best part of that clip though is when Dennis Allen and Arthur Smith are walking over to shake hands, and you can see Arthur Smith like yelling at him, already calling him names. And then the one assistant coach walks past Arthur Smith, looks at Dennis Smith. He's like, "You bitch ass motherfucker," and just keeps it moving.
He should, dude. Don't complain about that.
So Jameis had a good one too.
This isn't a joint practice. This is a game in the National Football League.
Winston said that 7 points bothered you, but the other 41 didn't.
Did he really?
Yeah. Because you got to watch the interview, the post-game interview, because basically the interviewer was also thought it was like a BS move by the Saints. And he's like, James is like, so what? Like, it's kind of like, what do we got to lose? Like, what's
I completely disagree with that. These guys go hard in every practice. These guys get chewed out if they miss a block on Wednesday in scrimmage. This isn't the NBA.
I think somebody on that Saints roster finally realized that their coach has a losing record, even with their record this year combined with it. So they said, we're just going to turn on this guy. Get him out of here.
The victory formation to audible was a little bullshit. Like, you couldn't have just gone up, lined up in the I form or whatever. But
who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, no, for sure. But at the end of the day, like, your team got blown out. Deal with it.
How about Atlanta sending the fax over of Arthur Smith being fired before 12 o'clock 05? They had him fired 5 seconds into today.
Yeah, okay. I mean, good for them. I mean, that's fine. Don't need to drag it out. And you know what? As maligned as he's been, I think he's going to be a fine offensive coordinator somewhere if he has someone to help him. He did fine in Tennessee.
Who would be your picks for this coaching job? Like guesses, who you want here, dark horses? Because I got two guys that I think are going to eye up this job that a lot of people aren't going to think of.
You got to tell me, because honestly, I only know the big game candidates, and I don't think they get a big name.
I could see Bill Belichick looking at this team and the weapons on here and going,
but why?
You see the weapons on this team? It's a young team with a decent defense. He shows up, fixes everything that's already messed up. They're back. Or his underling and Mike Vrabel ends up here, fixes the defense, has the offensive pieces already there. I
Why
could
does
see one
everyone
of
think
those two guys
Vrabel's
ending up here.
leaving?
Yeah, I don't get that either because I've heard that as well.
Why does
I think
everyone
they're
think
gonna trade
Vrabel's
him.
leaving?
I don't think it's going to be him getting
Trade
fired.
him.
I think he's going to get traded.
That'd be nuts. Why would you get rid of him? Look at your roster.
If you can get a first round pick for your coach and you're already in rebuilding, I mean, I know he's one of the better coaches, but
So
not
what?
gonna win
So you
anything
could
with the
replace
roster.
him with Ben Johnson, who we have no idea if he's going to be any good.
yeah,
$15
but
million a year.
you're not winning anything for the next 5 to 6 years anyway. So you would
You
eventually
are
fire
if you
him. and
actually
that
draft the right man at quarterback. They just keep flubbing. It's
their
not his
defense is
fault.
in
He's not the
shambles.
GM.
Their best wide receiver is going to walk away this year to go somewhere else. Their
Okay, well,
running
you can
back's
find wide
gone.
receivers.
They have no
Okay,
offensive
they have
line.
Ty Spears. They're fine.
They got this
Sixth
big
rounder for
sticker on them that
backup.
says rebuild spread.
But I'm
It
saying
would
if
be
I'm
quite funny
Tennessee, who
if-
else would I want to
if-
rebuild?
No, I understand what you're saying, but if your franchise is like, we need to win in the next 5 to 6 years with this coach, and we're gonna go, oh, we're gonna keep him anyway, and he's gonna win at max 7 to 8 games the next 5 to 6 years, they're gonna fire him anyway. Why not trade him for a first round pick and get another pick?
I disagree. I would keep the coach, but I understand where you're coming from. JC, we're all over the place here.
Yeah,
Let's go back to the Falcons. Then we're going to do the Saints real quick, and then we can talk about Tennessee. I'll just transfer straight to that next game.
Okay.
In fact, let's just put them all up. Titans won 28-20, so we're talking 4 teams right now.
Yeah.
Start with the Falcons, though. I don't know a lot of coaches, and I don't think they get a big name, so I think they're going to get a developmental guy.
Yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, I don't think it's that attractive of a spot. It would be hilarious for Belichick to be responsible for like the worst day in Atlanta sports history and then go get him a chip. That would be quite funny. I do like that idea, but I just think there are such better options, better cities, just things that make more sense. I don't think it's an unattractive location, but there's just going to be so many opportunities that I don't see it being a hot spot for anyone. Saints, Dennis Allen, he's got to go 2. That's another one.
Yeah, Keg says, here's the Sports Keg. Make sure you're following them on Twitter. They have to get rid of the coach now. How does the coach keep his job? They don't respect him. So I think that Dan Allen is gone. I think they give him plenty of time, and he's shown that he's not it, and he's going to be a great defensive coordinator somewhere. He's going to jump right back in.
We've been saying that except for the winner, whoever wins the NFC South, everybody else probably can fire their coach. And that seems to be the case at this point. So Saints, I don't really know what their future looks like either. That's pretty bleak. Far worse than Atlanta. That's a real ugly spot. So,
all right. So let's just say you two are the hottest coach. I'll start with you, Tyler. You're the hottest coach on the market. You have equal offers from Atlanta and New Orleans. Which job would you take, Tyler? You're muted.
I'm taking Atlanta.
Why?
They're a younger team, and you get to build what you want. The Saints are an old team with an old quarterback, or you run out Jameis Winston. They're over the cap by like $30 million. They have no money to spend, so you can't build your team you want. If you take the job in Atlanta, you get a top 10 running back in Bijan. You get a solid backup in Algier. You get Kyle Pitts. You get Drake London. You get some pieces on the defense, and your offensive line's somewhat good. I would much rather build from that than try and rebuild a Saints team who has no cap room.
You know what, JC? I thought that was like a really good question when I asked. And hearing Tyler's answer, I don't think it was as good as I thought. But I'll ask you, which team would you take?
Yeah, absolutely, Atlanta.
He kind of sold Atlanta to me.
Oh, man, there's no doubt, because that's the thing, too. It's like what quarterback doesn't matter, right? The weapons in Atlanta are great, but just quarterback alone, you got the 8th pick, so you can probably get a pretty good option if you want to draft someone. Maybe you think there's hope for Ritter. That's fine. But Saints,
no, there's no hope for Ritter. You can't think that.
I was wrong. The Saints aren't $30 million below the cap. They're $75 million below the cap.
Right, and you're right. Now I started thinking about. Remember, I was saying all year they're on the hook for another $30 million to Carr.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want.
I wonder if they keep Dennis Allen for a year just because they know they can't get a good candidate.
I feel like they might, and then they could bottom out and just be like, all right, new coach, do whatever you want. Like draft your guy, build your team how you want it.
And
you
think
can
about
probably
the Chargers
get, like-
last year. They probably should have fired Staley last year, but now there's way better options on the market.
The Chargers coach is coaching.
And I mean, honestly, Atlanta's got the capital. They could move up to get if they really wanted Williams or May. They could probably move up if they really wanted to.
I don't know. We'll see about that.
I think
Who ended
Spread's
up at
gonna be
number
happy.
2? Who's the number 2? Who's the number 2?
Washington.
pick?
Washington.
I don't think either of those teams trade.
I think Chicago could. They're like
No.
they get a good enough offer.
All right, we're bouncing all
It's
around.
not-
We'll go to that real soon. But just to kind of keep some semblance of order here, we talked about Tennessee. You guys think Vrabel might be moving on. You think it's a complete rebuild. The Jaguars. Go ahead.
I don't think Vrabel's moving on like that. He's dealt with a lot of crap there. They have no reason to move on from him, and it seems like a good fit. So I think eventually you can get it right. If they got faith in Will Levis, I think could be decent. Tennessee could be on the rise.
Okay. Jacksonville, what a disappointing season.
Mm-hmm.
What were they, 8-3, and ESPN having a 99 chance to make the playoffs, and they didn't?
Mm-hmm.
I got a weird take on this team, and I think it's going to just be like off the wall, and not a lot of people are going to take on this because everyone's going to go fire the coach. Trevor might be a bust. Fire the GM. Dude's too worried about wrestling and everything else. Get somebody in there that's actually worried about football, and then build the team.
You know the GM's not Tony Khan, who runs AEW. It's Trent Baalke, who ran the Niners with Harbaugh.
Oh, okay. I got to mix up. The owner's the one that runs the wrestling and stuff too. Then, right?
Did you see? I was going to bring that up. Did you see? So AEW is owned by Jacksonville, and it's on TNT. So WWE on Fox quote tweeted when the Jaguars said playoff tickets on sale now, and we're just did the Kurt Angle meme like. So even WWE was getting in on roasting the Jaguars. So where do they go from here? That was disappointing, huh?
No, I think it's an injury to Lawrence. That would set you back. I think you reset next year. I think they're going to be just fine.
I'm with JC on this one. There's a lot of injuries to that team at the end of the year.
Okay, fair enough. And I would say too, what are you going to do? You're not. Do you think you're getting better than Doug
They run
Peterson?
out the end of the season healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's not a coincidence that losing streak started right when Lawrence got wrecked. Didn't Cleveland wreck him too? Was that the game?
Cincinnati with Browning, that first game with Browning. But Cleveland might have too.
Oh, okay. All right. So we kind of agreed Jacksonville should run it back, and nobody knows what's going on in Tennessee with the Titans because if they have a new coach, I'm going to downgrade them huge. I think they would be crazy to let Vrabel go. If Vrabel leaves, it's because he wants out. There's no way Tennessee can let him go. All right.
Correct.
So we're bouncing all around here, but we're having some fun. The other argument you brought up was whether or not Chicago was going to trade their number one pick. We were on the Bears, JC. Before the show started, we said, boy, how stupid did we feel with that pick, right? And because we had money on it, right? And the Jets game was boring. The other one we had money on. The Bears, they look terrible. And we talked about this on Friday. One of the reasons we liked the Bears is we thought we were going to get full perform, as our guy Janos would say, right? We thought the Bears were going to be completely motivated and Justin Fields was going to put up a show no matter what. There's no way, and I know we're taking too much in 1 week, right? And the Raiders will probably do the opposite with their win. But there's no way you can watch that and just say, nah, I'd rather have him than Caleb Williams. To me, that performance cemented that Justin Fields will be traded and the Chicago Bears will draft Caleb Williams. JC, you seem to disagree, though. What do you think?
I mean, Justin Fields looked terrible, but Jordan Love also had a hell of a game. Just the second time this season, he threw for over 300 yards. So,
but don't you think that solidifies that they're thinking, okay, Green Bay's got this guy. He's way better than the guy we've got. We have an opportunity to get a guy who could potentially be way better. We can't just run it back with this guy who was quite clearly inferior at the position.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they don't. I'm just not saying it's an easy decision. Like, of all the other teams that are drafting near the top, it's very obvious who doesn't need a quarterback. I think Chicago could go either way. I think they could go get a bundle for that number one pick. I don't think Williams is a Joe Burrow or a Trevor Lawrence. Like, I don't think he's that caliber.
Oh, he'll probably be better than Trevor.
Who knows? I mean, I don't think he is, and so
I think he's
that's
close.
what they
I
gotta
think he's
deal with.
closer to Tyler than he is Trevor.
You guys got to
Agreed.
stop hating on this guy just because he cried once, right? Unbelievable.
Well, what did he do? Like, what did he win? Like, you know. But point being, right? When I originally brought up the point was what Atlanta can do for a quarterback. So fine, even if Atlanta can't go get the number one pick, they can go get Justin Fields. Justin Fields on that Atlanta team could be great. So I just think it's going to be a real tough decision. And this is not a situation where the team with the number one overall pick will not be taking phone calls. I think they absolutely will. And I think no one on that team is great.
I'll make a side bet with you that they don't trade that pick.
You didn't give me any odds?
You want to pull it up right now? Tyler, what do you think? You pull up those odds. Tyler, break it down while we do that.
What am I pulling up odds for?
JC's going to pull up odds to see the chances of Caleb Williams getting drafted by the Bears. And I'm asking you what you thought of that game. What do you think that the Bears will do? And then we can preview.
They're going to trade him after that game and after the post game interview. Like, I'm convinced he was already told before the game. I think he was done. He basically told all the people in the post game interview goodbye. Thanks for the time.
Yeah,
they're going to draft a quarterback, but this can be a hard/fun game to play for Chicago because you're in the best place you could be. Because if you trade the pick and you keep Fields, you can get a crazy haul for it, and you probably just keep flipping these top 5 picks for the next 3 years and just accumulating assets. If you trade him and say he ends up in New Orleans, just hypothetically, that's the spot he ends up, and you draft Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams is doing the same stuff Fields is doing. The offense can't get going. He's just kind of running the ball. All he could do is throw to DJ Moore. And Fields turns out to be really good outside of Chicago. Now you look like you made a drastic mistake.
Yeah, but the exact opposite. What if you trade Caleb Williams and he ends up being like one of the best players in the NFL? You're going to look just as stupid.
That's another thing. But the fallback on that is it's like, probably should have took him, but we got 4 first-round picks for him in 2 seconds. Because what they traded that first-round pick last year for Carolina to move up and get Bryce Young, double that price if the team wants to come up and get Caleb Williams. So I think they end up trading him. I don't know where he's going to end up, though. Richie Small says he's going to be in Atlanta. That's not a bad call. I hope Chicago makes the right decision. I don't think they will. I think they're going to fuck this all up.
I disagree. I think they're going. All right, the Green Bay Packers got the win. What's the other game? We'll combine 2 of the other games. The Packers are going to play the Cowboys.
Just one last thing on Caleb Williams, just because everyone's like, oh my God, he's so good. Well, 1, he wasn't good this year. 2, he was good last year, but he has a very big asterisk next to him that so does an NFL quarterback right now got to play with this wide receiver, and that guy sucks in the NFL. It's almost like Jordan Addison made these quarterbacks in college because he made Kenny Pickett, and it's looking like he made Caleb Williams.
Come on.
So be interested to see how Caleb Williams.
You can't compare Kenny Pickett to Caleb Williams. Come on, dude.
I got another one for you. Do you remember the last USC quarterback that was touted to be a number 1 pick, stayed an extra year? His draft stock kind of went down.
Not the guy that just played backup for San Fran?
No, I think he's in Jacksonville. Who knew? Matt Barkley.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, Barkley.
Yeah, Matt
I was
Barkley.
talking Darnold.
No, Darnold was after Barkley. Tyler's right. Darnold was after
Sure, but still, like he was supposed to come out the year with Luck and is that RG3? And it was like didn't know who the number 1
physically. None of these guys are ever what Caleb was, and top quarterbacks didn't go to USC before. Go ahead.
He's not a physical like specimen. Bro's like 6'1", like barely cracking 200 pounds. He's Kyler Murray.
No, Kyler Murray's
This
like 5'8". Caleb
this
Williams
isn't-
is 6'1", which is fine. He's got a cannon.
The physical specimen quarterback is Drake May, 6'4", 230. That's the physical
All right. Hey,
quarterback.
and if you want to argue that Drake May is going to be better than Caleb Williams, that's fine. But there's no way that Justin Fields is going to be better than Caleb Williams, barring injury.
If you drop Caleb Williams on the Bears right now and put Fields in a better situation, give me Fields. Because there's nothing going on in Chicago.
I disagree. I think Caleb's going to make them look.
Bro's
so
going to be
much better.
crying every game.
Bro, Fields can't get past one read.
But Fields can run for 1,000 yards. What
He
do you
has
think
a
Caleb Williams
worse
is
40
going to do?
times.
So who
than
cares?
Kyler
That
Murray.
only matters in fantasy. It doesn't matter in real life.
It matters when your offensive line can't block for you.
Well, you offensive line can't block too when you can't read and you just sit there and hold the ball.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. JC, you want to shore up our Caleb Williams debate, which I'm sure this won't be our last since we got the draft.
I'm not saying he's a bust. I just don't see him to be the canvas guy.
I'm also starting to get convinced that quarterbacks, like, I'm convinced, not convinced fully, but like starting to lean toward the side. Just completely up in the air. You could tell me this dude's going to be good. He's going to be the best prospect ever, like Trevor Lawrence, and look where he's at.
I didn't think Trevor Lawrence was going to be that. I didn't think he was can't miss. I knew Joe Burrow was. The way he played in the playoffs, met him.
But even Joe Burrow before that LSU year, he would have been a 5th round pick if he didn't put up those stats. He would have been a guy that rolled in like Dak Prescott and been like, oh, this guy's a 5th round pick. He's nothing. And then he ends up being an NFL caliber quarterback. A guy that I could see coming out in college this year that I don't think he's good, but he's running a pro style offense. And I could see him stepping on the NFL field. And it's like, why does that guy look like he's know what he's doing? That's JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
I bet you're going to say Bo Nix.
No, Bo Nix sucks.
Bo Nix is going to be better than McCarthy.
Bo Nix is older than me, spread. Bo Nix graduated the same year of high school as me.
In recent history, I think Joe Burrow was the only one that seemed completely obvious was going to be a campus play.
Even then, I don't think it was completely obvious.
Oh, yeah, it was. And I think everyone thought there were question marks around Lawrence, too.
Right. Slower than Lamar and Kyler. Come on, JC.
Give me another one. I'm just looking at
It doesn't mean you can't run.
I don't know. If you're not even on Kyler's speed.
Bro, what if I said Justin Jefferson can't run because he's slower than Tyreek Hill? Like, come on.
All right, Lamar was kind of unfair. But Kyler, like, if he's going to be the stud, you got to be faster than Kyler.
Caleb's not getting
Give me
drafted
another
for his rushing ability. Let me put it that way. The
Well,
guy
better
can throw
have
darts.
rushing ability playing behind the Chicago Bears offensive line.
But when you can read defenses quickly, you can make these reads.
Okay.
Not to mention, they're going to get a better play caller in there too.
Go through your one read of DJ Moore and then go read Tyler Scott and Equinus St. Brown's routes because they're not going to be open. The only guy that gets open is DJ Brown, DJ Moore. That's why he only reads one route. They have one receiver.
No, I think he's going to look a lot better. All right, let's wrap this up.
40 times closer to Josh Allen than Kyler Murray.
Pardon?
Thank you. Let's go. Look, okay, you're setting yourself up for one hell of a victory lap if you're right, but the majority of the time.
No, I think this is what I think that everyone's down on Caleb because there's just too much hype.
The dude's never going to live up to his height. He will never, ever live up to that height. Unless this dude walks on the field next year.
For example, Trevor's not living up to his hype, but is he a bust? No.
He's going to get labeled.
This was the year and he was injured.
Pardon?
And this was his year and he was injured.
Yeah, but he's not a bust.
No.
Yeah. All right.
What if I told you Daniel Jones has better stats than him through his first 3 years?
What?
Lawrence?
What if I told you Daniel Jones has better stats than Trevor Lawrence through his first 3 years?
It makes sense. There's a reason he got paid the way he did.
I'm not calling him a bust, but I
bust?
don't think he's living up to exact expectations that was.
No, and that was my point. His expectations were to be Peyton Manning / Andrew Luck / John Elway. So he didn't live up to expectations.
And Caleb Williams isn't being called Patrick Mahomes 2.0.
I know, that's my point. I think that he's getting hyped up too much, but he's still going to be a good player. It's just everyone's going to say he's a bust because he's not going to become the next John Elway.
That's fair. That's fair.
JC's wrong. He's the best quarterback, better than Dan Marino. All right, let's combine the next two games. We just talked about the Bears. The Packers are going to take on the Cowboys. The Cowboys beat the Commanders. Commanders, whatever. I mean, I think you talked about Belichick going to Atlanta. I think that Belichick's way more likely to end up in Washington.
Agreed.
Washington pulled the ultimate chess move spread. You see what they did? Did you see
Yeah.
who they went and got to run football operations?
Who?
Bob Myers.
From the Warriors?
Yeah.
Tell me that ain't a chess move.
That's stupid.
You're how? The dude built a dynasty in the basketball that won so many
In
championships.
basketball.
It's all financials and in the back. He's not picking talent. He's running the books.
Well, I hope you're right. All right. So where do you think the Commanders go from here? I mean, Tyler, I think it's pretty safe to say Drake May will be under center for the Commanders next season.
It's going to be one of them. It all comes down to if they fall in love with Drake.
You can't pick. I know you guys hate Caleb. He's not getting drafted ahead of Drake May.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's they're not going to trade up to get Williams, and they're not going to go elsewhere besides May. They're not.
No, this number 2 pick comes down to: are they going to default to the guy who was always supposed to be in 2 in Drake May? If Penix puts together some wild game tonight and just lights up Michigan's defense, they might fall in love with him. The best quarterback in the draft hasn't even been talked about yet. There's a lot of guys.
I agree with you there. Tyler.
You guys are overthinking it. Drake May's going to Washington. The only question is who's going to be the coach.
I mean, I think I think Washington is in a true rebuild. They are totally tearing down everything and absolutely building something legitimate. So you just have to get excited about. But with all these people they're bringing in, there's no telling what direction they go. I agree.
To be completely honest, of these top 2 teams,
definitely the second quarterback off the board, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders trade back and take someone else.
which team would you rather be in control of right now?
What's the
Which
question,
team would you
Tyler?
rather be in control of right now, Washington or the Bears? I'm taking Washington.
Washington. It's not even close.
Clean slate. You got.
I'd take it
just like
Chicago because the
does.
division's easier.
Yeah, but you got crappy owners in Chicago you got to deal with. Like, Washington is they may as well be in franchise.
I mean, the owners blow all those draft picks. I would just say they have a bad GM. All right.
Still.
That's enough for our Bears and our Commanders offseason. Of course, we will return to this when we do an NFL draft preview show. But Tyler, the Cowboys won 38-10. Now they're going to host the Green Bay Packers. This is another one, Tyler. I'm telling you, I don't think that these 7 seeds are playoff teams. The Packers have way too many weaknesses. And I know they beat the Bears, right? And I know I overestimated the Bears on last Friday's show. You guys can take me to task for that. But still, man, the Cowboys have been a juggernaut at home. These number 7 seeds, I would lay it with the Cowboys. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys win. I'm not going to give you too much slack for that because there's another one I'm giving you slack for that we should have never bet in the first place. But that Green Bay, I think they could surprise a little bit. Like, you're telling me Jordan Love can't throw against his defense if he gets time? Like, everyone's throwing against his defense. It all comes down to time. Dallas at home, though, I mean, we talked about teasers. I mean, teasing Houston up to 8.5 and teasing Dallas down to 1.5 doesn't seem like a bad wild card bet.
No, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
JC, what do you think of I mean, we kind of just only talked about the Bears. I mean, the reason they're blowing things up is because the Packers did play them well.
Right.
But, I mean, to me, it wasn't a blow-away performance. I mean, they scored 17 points. Whoop-de-doo. Right?
Yeah, agreed. No,
I think Cowboys are going to blow the doors off them.
100%. Dallas at home. I know these are one of the best kegs. Like, that definitely should be largest margin of victory next weekend. It's
Does it worry
going
you
to
that this team can't run the ball whatsoever, and their best receivers drawing an all-pro corner that has locked down a lot of these all-pro wide receivers before? If CeeDee Lamb gets slowed down in this game, like, this could become a lot tougher of a test for Dallas than they thought.
I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that they are going to be able to run the ball because I think the Packers' run defense is that bad.
No, I agree their run defense is bad, but Dallas has played multiple poor run defenses, and Pollard still can't run the ball.
Also, unrelated to Richie Small's point, I think the enemy could be a great option in Atlanta. I forgot about him.
Yeah, we'll see. It wasn't very impressive this year. Okay, so it seems like, I mean, did you want to make an impassioned plea for the Packers here?
No. Of the wild card games, though, like, if just looking through this list of the matchups, if I go, all right, one of these teams is going to pull the upset, not name the Rams because I already think they're going to win that game, it'd be the Packers.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Not for me. No, I like the Bucks a lot more. I like the Texans a lot more. I like the Dolphins a lot. I like everyone more. I think the Packers and the Steelers are dead in the water. I'm going to.
I think you're letting that number 7 next to him just bury him too quick for you. I could understand burying the Steelers because they shouldn't be there anyway, but Green Bay can move the ball. It's a revenge game. I think that one can get a little dicey. We're talking McCarthy in the playoffs.
And also spread.
Good point, but we're talking Dallas at home.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
You got the Eagles as a wild card. Like, that's – I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that's going to be that's a more likely wild card team to move on than Green Bay.
Tyler, break down the AFC West. The Raiders beat the Broncos. The Chiefs beat the Chargers. Just talk to me overall about that division. I'll be right back.
Yeah, glad to see the Raiders got the job done. We cashed that pick -3. That was a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Spread's seen the news, but a quarterback that's in this draft was in the locker room celebrating with Antonio Pierce because that was his coach in high school. And it's almost like there's a relationship built there already. And they might trade up and go get him. So I think his quarterback has already been identified. It's Mr.
Who is that?
Jaden Daniels, the best quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to keep Antonio Pierce. I think Devontae Adams might leave. That could be a big blow, but I think they're going to build this team. Zamir White looked good to finish the year. Get rid of Josh Jacobs. That's whole story's over with. Just run Zamir White, get another guy in there. I like where this team's going.
You have to repeat that headline for Spread.
One more time.
Did you see who the quarterback was celebrating with Antonio Pierce after the game?
Who, my quarterback? Aiden O'Connell?
Well, he's not your quarterback yet, but
Which non-Raiders quarterback?
which non-Raiders?
Russell Wilson.
No,
Nope.
he's not even in the NFL yet.
Tom Brady?
He retired. He's
Who
in
is
this.
it?
He's in this upcoming draft spread. He got to hold up a trophy already. It's called a
Jaden
high.
Daniels?
Yeah,
Mhm.
him and Antonio Pierce coached him in high school.
Oh. That'd be sweet. I don't think we can get him, though.
Why not?
We're picking 13th. He's not going to fall
Trade
out
up.
I think you have to trade up.
You
Or
trade
not
up.
very far, maybe a couple
You
spots.
trade up, but you also might luck out because if the Patriots don't pick a quarterback at 3, no one else behind them is.
There's no way that the Patriots don't pick a quarterback.
Yeah.
Or if
Wow.
they say if they
You're
love a Penix, if they take Penix instead of Daniels, or if they like Drake or not Drake May, McCarthy or Nix, like they might leave Jaden Daniels on the board.
I don't think so. So here we go, right? So I think we go QB 1, 2, 3 for sure, right? That's Carolina, Washington, New England. Would you guys agree? They're all taking QBs.
Chicago, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago.
Yes.
All right. Arizona, no, at 4.
No.
Chargers, no, at 5. Giants, I would say yes.
Wow, that's the only wild card.
Oh, Tennessee's got to
No.
take. You think Tennessee's running it back with Levis?
I think they could run it back too. Yep.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't like
If,
that.
if the Giants take one, I don't think they can afford to take one that early. Maybe in the later
Yeah,
round,
like
they're gonna take
I
it
kept
late
trying to tell
summer.
you, Derek. I kept trying to tell you the Saints were going to take a quarterback, and you keep telling me that this $30 million cap hit with Derek Carr. They dropped a bag on
Yeah.
Daniel Jones' doorstep. He ain't going anywhere.
It's the same deal though. It's just like the Saints. So I'll take my L
But I
there.
don't think Daniel Jones is that bad.
I don't think he's that good.
That's fine. But I'm just saying, I think the Saints need quarterback replacement far more than.
All right, I'd say that's 50-50. You're right. Would you say that's fair? 50-50 the Giants take quarterback?
Between
I
those
think the Giants
two,
take
yeah.
what? I think the Giants take whichever wide receiver is on the board. If Marvin Harrison's still there, it's him. If it's not him, it's the kid from LSU, or if they love the kid out of Washington more. They got to get a weapon.
Marvin Harrison's going to be with Kyler next year.
Probably, yeah.
He's going 4. Chargers probably take a lineman.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't hate the Giants taking Brock Bowers at 6, to be completely honest with you.
Who's he? The lineman?
The Georgia tight end.
Oh, you can't take a tight end at 6.
This isn't your normal tight end. This isn't your
That's what I said about Kyle Pitts.
No. This is not your fast Kyle Pitts that's running away from linebackers. This is baby Gronk.
All right. Giants 50-50. I say Tennessee's 50-50. You guys think he's running back with Levis?
Absolutely.
Look at
why
Robert
wouldn't.
saying they have Malik Willis like that even matters. Robert, they're done with Willis.
I
He's had 2
can
years.
see Tennessee being a Fields destination too.
That's fair. Atlanta, if they don't trade for a QB, if they don't trade for Fields, they're drafting a QB.
Yeah.
That's 4 for sure QBs.
No.
Chicago's second one, they're not, because they've already drafted a QB in my little mock rankings.
You guys are going to have to move up, but I think you guys are going to move up.
The Jets won't take a QB, will they?
Like, of the teams
Yeah,
you
first
just listed, I still think you're in the worst spot for a quarterback.
Yeah, because Minnesota's taking one and Denver's taking one.
Well, I'm just saying, like, looking at it, like, I would rather have Sam Howell over AOC. I'd rather have Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi over AOC. I would rather have Daniel Jones, Will Levis, or maybe even Malik Willis over AOC.
Mm-hmm.
Give me both the Atlanta guys. Give me Zach Wilson.
Okay, Tyler, you've established that the Raiders have the worst starting quarterback.
Yeah, you're going a little too far there. Zach Wilson, Desmond Ritter. Jeez, I still think
they probably are better.
They're probably better than him. Yeah, like
they probably are.
If the Raiders move up and get the quarterbacks ahead of those teams, I think they jump a lot of teams in rankings. The defense is already good. There's weapons there. You drop a Jaden Daniels on that team's a problem.
Spread. I'm so hoping you guys hold on to Pierce because it's so rare to get a guy that fits in so well, and it's just.
You know who Atlanta's quarterback's going to be when Belichick takes this job?
Tom Brady.
Jimmy G.
He won't do that.
I can see it.
He won't do that.
Bring him in, throw some dink and dunks to Pitts, London, throw some dump off to
No.
Bro, you'll get him so cheap. He'll be so cheap.
You get him literally pennies.
He might be on the staff, but he's not. Well, I think he's still signed to us. I think he's still on 12 to 15 mil, and I don't think we've cut him.
Right. So you can go get him for
I don't think he'll be there. Okay. Any more AFC West thoughts? The Chiefs. All right. Do we have any more Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders thoughts?
No.
I'm just saying. It's Pierce could be a pretty good coach wherever he goes, but he could be legendary if he stays in.
If you were to guess right now, do you think it'll be Pierce or do you think we get Harbaugh?
Harbaugh's going to the other AFC West team.
Yeah.
Harbaugh's going to the Chargers.
I don't think you're pulling anyone better. So I think you're probably going to stick with Pierce.
The entire Baltimore coaching staff is on the sideline tonight for Michigan. Like they flew all those guys out there. I don't even know if that's allowed to drop another coaching staff on the sideline for help. You know what I mean?
Why would it not be?
I don't think that wouldn't that be considered cheating? It's let me fly my brother in who's a coach of an NFL team. He's gonna bring his entire staff with him and all the extra add-ons they bring with them.
What are they gonna do? They're not watching Michigan film. I mean, are they?
I mean, they had a week to do it and they got a bye week. I wouldn't put it past them.
All right, I have no thoughts on that. Okay, so you guys think the Chargers end up with Harbaugh?
Give me your thoughts.
Pierce? Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on the Raiders this offseason?
I hope we get Pierce, but if Harbaugh's available, I think we go for him.
I think
what the hell did the Broncos do?
The Broncos run it back with Peyton to draft a quarterback and trade Russ.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Russ to Atlanta?
Part. I mean,
Russ to
well,
Atlanta?
here's the thing. I don't know if they'll trade him.
No, God, no. Do you know the backstory of what would happen there? Like the whole, like not even football field wise, like what would go on off the football field?
That's the ultimate troll. You talk kind shit about me, now you got to root for me, motherfucker.
I guarantee he will be like, no. Like I bet you he has a no trade.
I think he would do it.
Mm-mm. No, he is not that kind of guy.
No.
Right.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Let's do NFC West, and then we'll circle back to the Sunday night game and do a little preview there.
Hey, we're running pretty long here. We should probably just close up after this next division.
Yeah, let's just do the next division. Oh, I see your joke. Okay. NFC West thoughts, Tyler. Go ahead. That's a good one, JC.
Yeah, I mean,
thank you.
I honestly think if San Fran doesn't make the Super Bowl out of the NFC, that this season was a failure for them, because I think there's one team they have to worry about, and it's the Rams, who they might not even play. I think they handle Detroit. I think they handle whoever comes off the other side. Like, that's the one team I think could give them problems is the Rams. So if they do not make the Super Bowl and probably win it, season was a loss. I mean, outside of that, I mean, the Rams, they're a wild card team that I think could make some noise. And at 50-1 to win the Super Bowl, I don't hate getting a hedge ticket on that. Because if they beat San Fran, I think they could beat Dallas or Philly in the NFC Championship game. And whoever's waiting for them on the other side, I think they can win that game too. So I think there's two teams out of that division that even have a shot at the NFC side. No one else.
Mm-hmm.
JC, talk about these games. And Tyler didn't touch on it. Do you think the Seahawks run it back with Geno Smith?
Probably. They kind of dealt with injuries too. I mean, just based on the shuffle that's about to take place at the quarterback position, I maybe there's someone better they can go get. I kind of doubt it. I think what they'd have to pay to go get someone better is probably not worth it. If Carroll's sticking around, he'll probably stick with Geno. So I don't see a change because, like I said, I mean, like Fields might be like better. He could be an option there, but I don't think they're going to want to pay what it's going to cost. So they'll run it back with him. I mean, to pretty much sum up the playoff futures, there is no reason to just put all the money on Ravens, San Francisco, Super Bowl. If San Francisco has to play the Rams, you might hedge a little bit, but it's not even – it's just crazy. Like, I mean, we've had years where the number ones were this clear-cut, but we've never had them be this clear-cut, this dominant, and the rest of the field just be so battered, banged up, and just not bring in a good product to the playoffs. So I think both teams will sprint to the Super Bowl. It should be a fantastic game, and I agree. I mean, looking around the NFC, anything short of the Super Bowl is going to be a disappointment. I don't know where you go from there if you're San Francisco, but there is zero reason for you to not be in Vegas come February.
All right. Anything more on the NFC West, Tyler? What do you think of Geno?
Nah, I mean, I got nothing on that. They gave him $100 million. Maybe he stays. I don't know how the whole contract works. If they can get rid of him and not have to pay him money, I'd have to look into that beforehand.
Yeah, I think they stick with him too. Let's talk about, though, the game that we saw last night, Tyler. And we'll be nice to JC. We'll start with you. You know, that was kind of a rough look there, and why I've never been as high on the Dolphins. Just at the end of the game, it just felt like the difference in quarterback was just way too great here. And, you know, Josh Allen was just better than Tua. With all the injuries, that Bills defense was better, and they're able to get it done. And what was a de facto playoff game, because now the Bills get to host the next week's game, and the Dolphins have to travel to Kansas City. What do you think is going on, Tyler? And what did you take away from that game last night?
Yeah, Miami's just beat up. They're injured at a ton of spots. You're running one wide receiver out there and Chase Claypool, which ain't going to win you many games. He tried to hit Chase Claypool on an out route. Chase Claypool ran a terrible route, and it ended in a pick for Tua. If that's Waddle or Tyreek running that route, I guarantee it's a completion. They have no other offensive weapons outside of Tyreek Hill and A-Chain right now. So it's like stop 2 guys, you win the game. Buffalo couldn't get out of their way the whole beginning of the game. Like they were moving the ball effortlessly. Got down in the red zone. Gabe Davis ran the wrong route. Interception. That should have been 7 right there. Drive right back down the field. Another one. It's like, all right, there's 14 points left on the board. And then right before halftime, you get all the way down and you get stopped on the 1 with 1 second left. So they left a ton of points on the board in that first half. Then they get that miraculous tip ball that just floats into the back corner of the end zone for that
Isn't that funny?
That was ridiculous. But I think it was more like the game. In the end, they won by a touchdown. Cool, Buffalo got the 2 seed. Miami played a good game for how many injuries they've had. And I think the game could have been uglier if Buffalo would have put some points on that board earlier in the game instead of the turnovers. But in the end, for Miami, let's be honest. You beat this team once in the last 10 times. If you make it 2 in the last 11, guess who you're playing next week? You get them again. You think you're beating them twice in a row? I don't think so. So I even though you lose the home playoff game, I think it was better that they just lost that game and try and win a road game against the Chiefs because you weren't beating Buffalo twice in a row.
All right, JC. I know it's rough to do this to you. Your thoughts last night as a once promising season didn't go down the drain, but boy, it's really going to be cinematic if you guys get this one.
Yeah. Oh, geez, sorry. So, I mean, going into that game, I knew we were screwed because there were 2 options. We either win and Buffalo just gets another chance at us the following week. That's not good. Buffalo wins and they get a home playoff game. It was win-win for Buffalo and it was lose-lose for Miami. While I honestly believe going to Kansas City is probably a better shot than seeing Buffalo in Miami again, it doesn't matter. Like it was lose-lose for us. And with this option, even though playing Kansas City a little bit better, we still got to deal with the fact that we just lost 2 of our last 3 against, teams with a winning record. This season has started off so high. I mean, greatest show on surf. We were supposed to be all of that. I mean, we were, had a real shot at Super Bowl. It was going to be great. And while injuries certainly plagued this team and kept us from our full potential, our problem was under center. Okay, Miami lost 6 games this year. 4 of them were by 1 score. Against the Eagles, and in all 4 of those 1-score games, Miami had a chance to make a game-winning drive. First one against the Eagles. What does Tua does? He throws an interception. Then we play the Chiefs. Got a chance to make a game-winning drive in Germany. What does Tua do? He fumbles. We have a crazy game on Monday night against Tennessee where the Titans put up 14 points in 3 minutes. Miami had a chance to make it. They didn't even need to drive. They needed a first down to run out the clock. What does Tua do? He takes a sack. Doesn't even give his guys a shot. And then last night, what does Tua do? Throws an interception. That type of performance in the clutch is never going to do it. He's a 75-cent quarterback. Nothing else it doesn't matter when you have those guys because when he's making mistakes like that in situations like that, you have a very low ceiling. They are a good team. They have a tremendous roster. But when you have a 75-cent quarterback, you're never going to make a deep run in the playoffs. You're going to be lucky to make the playoffs. You're not going to do anything once you get to the playoffs. And so now I'm at least glad. The positive is I'm getting all my woes out now. I have 0 expectations for next week. I'm going to put the mortgage on the Kansas City Chiefs. Every bet you place this week should be parlayed with the Chiefs' money line because they are going to go to cold Kansas City and get their shit pushed in. I don't care what's going on. I've heard Mahomes might be injured. I heard Kelsey might be injured. It doesn't matter. Chiefs in the playoffs are the Chiefs in the playoffs. The only other bet besides Baltimore and San Fran in the Super Bowl I put is the little future on the Chiefs to win the AFC because that's the only outcome here. They are going to roll. Miami's going to look stupid. And once again, in my lifetime, this is like the 4th time we made the playoffs. Every time we get rolled in the first round. So there it is again. Yeah, I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of the Dolphins. I'm sick of Tua. And I don't hate my dad, but I hate his parents for moving him from New England to Florida. Had my dad grown up in Rhode Island, Connecticut, wherever he was born, I could be a Patriots fan. I could have a happy life, but I don't. I'm a Dolphins fan. So that's how my day's going. That's how I feel. And I'm a masochist, so I'll tune in. I'll pay the money. I will buy a Peacock subscription to watch my team get bullied by the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right. Well, man, I really wanted to rub it in, but it sounds like you just did it for me. I was really surprised because I know how high you are on Tua, and I thought you were going to try and defend him today. But I felt that was the difference in the game. Buffalo, obviously, well, not obviously, but they had the slightly better defense. At the same time, with the weapons that Miami has, I think a better quarterback would have been able to overcome it. Tyler, however, I don't know if I'm ready to join JC and laying this number with the Chiefs. What have we seen from Kansas City that makes us want to get past the hook there on the -3.5? What are your thoughts here, Tyler? I was surprised. I thought this number was going to be inside of 3. Miami catching 3.5. In my mind, that's a bit of an overreaction here. How are you approaching this playoff game?
I'm probably not betting this one. It's like
okay,
the
but
Chiefs.
If you were, who would you bet on?
If the Chiefs can play football all of a sudden and like their guys can get open and line up on sides, they should be able to put together some points. But it's going to be their defense that has to win them this game. Their offense is so bad that like I'm just scared to back this team because we've seen it week after week. You bet him, and it's like, well, Mahomes is running for his life, and he can't move the ball down the field. Now we're in shambles. Kelsey looks like he's running in mud with a 50-pound weighted vest on. He looks washed. The only receiver that can get open is Rashee Rice. I mean, if I'm not laying the 3.5, but maybe like parlay their money line and something, they get out with a win. But I'm not laying 3.5.
Yeah, I'm 2 minds of that. Maybe, are the Chiefs that much better? And are they trying to put that 3.5 there to try and get some Miami money? We're going to break down the Eagles and the Buccaneers on Monday because we will do a review show next Monday, right, fellows? And we'll talk about the 5 games that we watched so far.
For sure.
So let's just save the Eagles and the Buccaneers for then, unless you guys had some takeaways and you think we need to get in on this right now. But I'm kind of lost on that game. Eagles look bad, man.
I think it's the Bucs, but I think if you weigh, you can probably get it better.
You think money will come in on the Eagles?
If A.J. Brown's playing, I'm taking the Eagles.
Okay.
We watched Baker Mayfield regress heavily the last 3 weeks. Bro couldn't even score.
Well, he's hurt too.
He couldn't even score a touchdown against Carolina, and we want to bet him here.
Yeah, good point. All right. Tyler, final thoughts.
I think it's going to be a fun playoff run. I think chaos could ensue if the Niners get bounced, because then at that point, good luck figuring out who's going to be there in the end, because I think anybody can pop up at that point. I'm going to hold my Rams ticket. I'm going to hold my Browns ticket. I'm going to hold that Buffalo ticket at high numbers and just hope for the best.
What are your final thoughts, John, the NFL National Football League?
2 things. One, the thing just to think about when you're placing your bets this week is the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Eagles. All have been playing.
Why do you like the Eagles so much?
I'm not saying just those 3 teams have been playing very poor football, and everyone's suddenly expecting them to turn it on in the playoffs. Not saying they are, not saying they aren't, just something to keep in mind, because I think those teams are all going to take money, and I don't think it's the craziest thing to think, but what on earth, like, I don't think all 3 teams are going to be able to flip that switch, so keep that in mind. I want that cat brings up the only positive that can be taken from this Miami game is Tua playing for a max contract. So While I called him a 75-cent quarterback, we've seen guys make that.
I mean, who cares? I want a max contract too. I'm not good
No,
enough.
I'm just saying. We've seen guys make the jump. By him playing like this season, it may result in a cheaper contract than if he had made a deep playoff run. So that's the only benefit of this abysmal downfall, is that we get Tua on a cheaper contract if Miami feels like he can make that jump to being a quarterback who can perform under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too excited about your chances, and I think that with a full team, that team that we saw in week 6, week 7, when you still had Bradley Chubb, you still had Jalen Phillips, and you have the full offense, I think you would have had a great chance, especially with the potential to get home field. It's really too bad that injuries are going to be the downfall of your team this year because, hey, and let's be honest. Kansas City's not this huge juggernaut. Although I was wrong about this. I said it. Don't count out Miami, right? Because everyone thought that Buffalo was going to win, and they did. So good for them. But I also think that everyone's just assuming Kansas City's going to win. They got lots of flaws too.
Yeah, but
they got plenty of flaws too.
And it's going to be like 9 degrees.
Yeah. All right. There you have it for us. We will be back on Friday to give out our official picks. Tyler, did you have anything that you believe that we just need to get in right away because the line's going to move? The ones that I was thinking about, of course, I like the Bills and the Cowboys and the Browns are the 3, but I don't think we're too worried about line moves. I can be patient there. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm not. The games this week, I don't think you got to run to bet. The only thing I would bet right now would be the futures for the conference winners. The Browns, the Rams. What were you about to say?
I think if you like the Bills, you should jump on it because I think that number's going up, but that'd be the only one.
Yeah, but I'm not running the late 10. Like, that's just a.
But if you like it, I think it'll go to 12, 13 by game time.
Yeah, I could see that. But as for me right now, the only thing I'd lock in is the futures. Browns 12-1 to win the AFC. Rams 23-1 to win the NFC. Would be the 2 bets I'd lock in right now. We already got the Bills at 20-1. Let's ride out those tickets, see how the playoffs play out.
All right. JC, any bets for the people?
Like I said, man, just any bet you place this week, don't be afraid to parlay it with a Kansas City money line bet.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, going to the immortal words of the man behind me, Mr. Hootie himself. As he once said, I'm such a baby because the Dolphins always make me cry.